Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new chapter or episode of RWBY Volume 5 on episode chapter 8. This chapter episode was actually pretty cool, not too bad, and the way how it went and the way what it started right now just became insane, etc. So if anything else, let's just get this started. Okay. Excuse me. We have to it that RWBY is up a little bit early and apparently just looking at the sky, while Yang ends up joining her along with Weiss, who ends up having coffee for all of them, except with the exception of RWBY having a lot of cream and sugar, which is really cool, not too bad. And we have to it that Yang is actually surprised or astonished in a certain way that we'll all hear about magic here and there along with like certain powers. She was actually pretty shocked. Although, RWBY and Weiss really wish Blake was here, and this got Yang, who will not admit it, upset by saying, Blake made her choice. I don't really care about her. In a certain way, she says it, but the way how she acts and the way how she says in her sentences, it's just upsetting. And of course, RWBY and Weiss is like, don't you want Blake here? Yang's like, she made her choice. I don't really care. And of course, RWBY and Weiss asked her, are you okay? You don't sound very good. She goes like, I'm fine. And then of course, she had her eyes turn red, which signals that she is not fine. Really ridiculous in a certain way. But of course, Yang just left because she knew she was losing her cool. As for Blake, she gets ready to try to make some recruitments for what's to come for the future for the Faunus. Of course, she ends up finding a note from Ilya by saying, things are going too far. I know things are not looking well, but find a quiet place and we'll talk. Seriously. Of course, this sounded like it could be a trap for Blake, the way how I sees it. Of course, Sun, on the other hand, asks her if everything's okay, and Blake's like, yeah, nothing's wrong. As for Yang, she still mourns the fact that Blake left them, and of course, Weiss knocks the door and comes in, and Yang thought it was RWBY, but it was not the case. Weiss, on the other hand, says it's me. And therefore, they end up having a talk about loneliness, obviously. Yang explains to Weiss that ever since she was born, or something, we have to it that her father was busy with school. Raven, by that time, left her, and RWBY was just with Yang by that time, and she was unable to talk by that time. And of course, RWBY's mother left too, in a certain sense, which is really sad. And she explains how, she unlike Weiss, she has, concerts and dinners and everything. I don't have any of that. I had to pick up the pieces, and I hated that, in a certain sense. Well, she didn't say it explicitly, but the way how you could hear her tone and the way how she's saying her sentences to Weiss, how she hated loneliness, shows that she really hated the fact of being alone and that she had to take care of RWBY all by herself when her father's busy with school, RWBY's mother left, and everything else after that. Of course, Weiss, on the other hand, therefore explains this to Yang about her own family problems. By the time it was her birthday at the age of 10, she finally figured she gets the truth from her father that he married into Weiss's family for the family name, which is really, really ridiculous and really upsetting because we've seen a lot. I'm pretty sure there's not once, if you even watch certain anime or manga or cartoons, that you will see a character who's very greedy and only wants to do it out of their own, selfish desires. And of course, we get to figure out that Weiss's father just married into her family just for the family name, or for the glory, or history, some kind of thing. I'm pretty sure you guys get the point. This really upset Weiss's mother so much that they took separate lunches, separate dinners, separate concerts that Weiss does, or everything else all together, but eventually it led up to the point where it's a possible divorce after Weiss says, what happens next after that? Well, if that really happened, which I really hope it does, because when a woman who dearly loves you greatly, they find out the real truth from you, you don't really love them, or you just married in for the greed of the family name, it's gonna upset the woman. It's gonna upset the woman you married into, or she loves you greatly, really mad. I mean, like, that's the fact. Weiss's father is a total scumbag the moment I even saw him. I mean, ever since he acted that towards Weiss, etc., which she's trying to prove a point, and slapping her and telling her, oh, you're going to stay in this freaking house until we figure out what's the best future for you. I'm thinking in my mind, you, Weiss, get out of there. I mean, I told you guys a long time ago, and I'm pretty sure I made a point clearly a long time ago that Weiss needed to get out of there, out of that house in Volume 4. The moment I saw her in that house, I go, you need to get the hell out of there, etc. But aside from me being off topic, which I apologize, Weiss therefore explains her story to Yang that after certain family problems, she ends up telling Yang that I'm pretty sure Blake has some guilt for having you hurt, etc. She didn't say it explicitly, but Blake's worried about losing people again. Although Yang's like, well, that's not the case. We will never blame her for anything, etc. We just want her to be safe, etc. Of course, Weiss says, I'm pretty sure Blake feels the same about us. Like, she cares for us, she loves us. Until she's ready, we'll be there for her. And I'll be there for you. Even Weiss, therefore, admits that Team RWBY is the family that she'll ever have. And I'm thinking in my mind, that's really great. That's really great. Too bad she didn't mention Winter, even though, Winter has a strict motives of combat and everything else. Yeah. But aside from that, I'm really glad that Weiss decides to open up to Yang and tell her about her family problems, how, she had her own kind of loneliness as well. Eventually, after much talk and having to figure things out, they end up having to, make up, and of course, RWBY asks, is everything okay? And, of course, Yang's like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm thinking, yay, good job. Now, when it came to this scene right here, where Blake's at a dark alleyway, we have to it that Ilya shows up, and we have to it that Ilya apologizes to Blake, while Blake goes you don't have to turn into this kind of thing. We can figure things out. But Ilya says, no, I'm real sorry. And we have to it that the winged faunus, which I think his name is Yuma, kicks Blake down to the ground, and then she ends up being captured by someone called Trifa, I believe, who has some kind of web-like weapon or can spout out webs out of her hands and captures her. This really upsets Blake and goes what the hell are you trying to do right now? And Ilya's like what we are going to do. And that is stopping you and the Belladonna family. And of course, she does reveal this to Blake later after Blake tries to talk her out of this. She goes you don't have to do this, girl. Look, stop this right now. And Ilya's why should we stop? There is no right, there's no innocent, there's only the best route for the best way for certain results. I'm thinking in my mind, I don't think you know best results if you even want to see one, honestly. After that, we have to it that Ilya explains to Blake that they're gonna murder her family and put them down for good. And of course, Blake was really upset about this, and of course, Blake is told by Ilya that you'll be going to Mistral, be sent to Adam where he is. And therefore, we have to it that Ilya tells Yuma to come with her, while she tells Trifa, I believe that's her name, Sister Trifa, when Yuma calls her that, the winged faunus, to take her to the docks. And we have to it that Blake, on the other hand, knew that this could be a trap and has Sun help her out. And therefore, they end up having to hurry to call the cops and go to the Belladonna house, and while Blake is trying to call her mother, which I hope she's safe, which she is somewhat safe, but not at the point of where she's out of firing range, the guards were trying to protect her, while Blake's mother uses the gun that the guard ends up being shot at after being shot at to shoot at the other guards. We have to it that Blake's father is able to hold his ground apparently, and we have to it that Corsic and Phoenix says it's time to put a high leader down. this upsets like Blake Spotted is upset about their betrayal and what they're trying to do, and he ends up taking off his coat, reveals his nails in his hands, and roars in total rage, which shows that he's ready to freaking go in combat mode or possibly kill them. So yeah, there you have it. In a simple summary, without a lot of detail, Ruby, Yang, and Weiss have their talk, and of course Yang is upset that they mentioned Blake, and of course there's Weiss and Yang talking about it because of their own loneliness, and Blake, of course, being involved with the plan where her family's gonna get slaughtered, where she goes to Adam, etc., but who knows what. Aside from that, yeah, pretty much like Blake's family slaughtered plan is being intact, and knowing that Ilya became involved in this, etc., and she ain't going back on it, just shows there's no redemption for her. Either you put her down or arrest her. That's it. That's all I can really say. I forgot to mention a little small detail about Ilya telling Blake that she wanted Blake to look at her. Ilya wanted Blake to look at her a lot, even though she was young, etc. And she was always jealous at the fact that Blake looked at Adam almost all the time, which is something that bothered Ilya a lot. Which I go like, well, if you wanted her to look at you, you should have talked to her more. That's what I was thinking. But who knows what. Aside from that, it's really upsetting and it really sucks in a certain way. But it is what it is, you know? Knowing that Ilya admitted to Blake that Ilya wanted Blake to look at her in a certain way, like saying, "Senpai, please notice me." Well, but who knows what. But that's not her reason. She's just doing it because she thinks it's the best for the finals, which like I said, you don't know what's best for the finals anyway. You just want things to go into certain chaos without you understanding or even knowing about it, whatever the case may be. But aside from that, the chapter episode is pretty good. Blake, on the other hand, is going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Hang in there, Blake. Hopefully her family survives, and if they don't, like I said, no redemption and no way that the White Fang, Adam, and Ilya deserve to live. As cruel and messed up I could be, when you allow monsters like that to like roam the entire world to kill innocents, you know, how can you not overlook that? There's no way in hell you could like overlook the fact they killed innocent lives, etc. So until then, I'll see you guys in my next video. So I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye.